Once people have heard about Bir Tawil and the amazing fact that it is genuinely unclaimed land, the next question that people normally ask is, okay, so how will you actually claim Bir Tawil? This is a huge question, but the best way to answer would be to discuss the first steps we plan to undertake to get that initial permanent population settled. But here's where we are as of now and our plans for the immediate future. Here are our initial steps: setting up an interim constitution and basic laws, raising funding via NFTs, increasing our supporter base and beginning raising the first groups of pioneers, secure commercial leases in Sudan or Egypt for logistics. Then we go. What about the biggest obstacles? Access to land. Bir Tawil is landlocked between Egypt and Sudan. To get access via land with vehicles or using aircraft, we need permission from either of those countries to do so. There is a UN Convention on the Rights of Landlocked States, but this doesn't apply to us because A, we're not a state yet, and B, the convention still recognises that any access through or over a sovereign country is ultimately at their pleasure. So we need permission to get access. Our approach is to try and secure a commercial lease for a logistics and water supply hub on the Red Sea coast and use overland transport to get supplies in or out. This raises the obvious question of why would Sudan or Egypt allow this? The answer to the why is relatively straightforward, because it would be of huge net benefit to either country if we succeeded. The real question that remains to be answered is, will either country allow access? If we don't get permission to access Bir Tawil, then our project effectively stops in its tracks. But equally important is the fact that this question has never been asked or answered. To date, everyone who has gone to Bir Tawil and planted a flag has done so as a tourist with a temporary visa and then left. We believe that we have the first realistic proposal that will be of net benefit to Egypt and Sudan if we are allowed to lease land and secure access overland. I'll go into this in more depth at the end of the video, so for now we'll look at some of the other obstacles in our way. Water and energy supply. Water and energy are vital for any settlement, with water being our chief focus of pre-planning. We need to get access to the Red Sea to desalinate the water, and to get sufficient quantities to Bir Tawil for population. Obviously, a pipeline would be the best long-term solution, but would realistically take years to complete. In the meantime, we are doing the sums on various vehicle transport options. There are technologies such as atmospheric water generation, however these are limited in effectiveness in arid environments or use a significant amount of energy to run and would face scaling issues. They may be a good option for emergencies, but it's not something that we're betting on being a viable supply source. In terms of energy, fuel would need to be transported the same way as water, that is overland. However, for electricity, we do have the benefit of good sunshine and lots of it. Photovoltaic solar panels will be the initial method to generate the electricity required for the pioneer teams. Communications. This might be an easier challenge than in the recent past. There are no cell towers in Bir Tawil, of course, but Wi-Fi extenders can be used for localised communication. In addition, the pioneers teams would have satellite phones for immediate communication with the outside world for emergencies. For regular communications, we would use satellite internet. There are two major suppliers that we've been in contact with to supply the initial units. A much longer term option is running cables to connect the various submarine cables running through the Red Sea. There are 5 that landfall at Port Sudan alone. Security. Security seems to be a big obstacle in many people's minds when they first hear of the project. For some, the idea of an unclaimed desert land makes them think it will be like Mad Max Fury Road. The reality is very different. There are no roving bands of thieves looking to gun down unsuspecting settlers. It's not the Wild West of movies. The reality is the biggest physical threats in Bir Tawil are environmental, from the hot desert climate and a lack of access to infrastructure. A major part of our pre-planning is dealing with minimising the risk of injury and illness from the various civil engineering projects we'll be undertaking. Of course, we're fully aware that there are some mining operations being undertaken by the Ababda people and some other groups in Bir Tawil. These mining works are located in the central hilly region of Bir Tawil, and they're not close to any part of a proposed settlement that we're looking to develop over the next few years. Our land sales via NFTs are not over these areas, and we recognise the Ababda's right to these areas, and we do not see any reason to think that there would be conflict because of this. Our interest in Bir Tawil is as a blank slate for a new nation, not to mine or drill for resources. Each of these topics will be given their own video in due time where we delve deeper into the risks and opportunities that we face. Coming back to the access mentioned at the start of the video, this is the first real hurdle we have to overcome. I mentioned that our plans provide a real net benefit for Sudan and Egypt if we are successful. Any land in Sudan or Egypt that we lease on the Red Sea for our depot and desal plant would provide rental income for that nation. In addition, the extra power and water capacity could be shared with nearby towns, benefiting the local population. Then there's the employment opportunities for various support functions like mechanics, electricians, plumbers, drivers, and more that would be needed to keep the depot operational. One key source of income for the host nation could be excise on the water supply. For now, we'll focus on Sudan as a potential host. Let's compare the revenue for Sudan from our potential future nation to that of a real mining project currently underway. The Perseus Mining Block 14 project, located very close to the southwest of Bir Tawil, is expected to generate 200,000 ounces of gold per year. At a US price of $1,800 per ounce and a 7% government royalty, this looks to bring in $25.2 million of mining royalty to Sudan per year for the next 13 years. On top of that is a share of the profit from the joint venture company, plus corporate tax revenue. So, how can our new nation project benefit Sudan in a similar way? How about an excise on the water supply? A US 50 cent per cubic metre excise could generate the following. If Bir Tawil gets to 1 million people, with an average need to import 200 litres of water per day per person, this equates to 200,000 cubic metres of water per day, or 73 million per year. Even just a 50 cent per cubic metre excise would generate up to $36 million per year for Sudan, year on year. The excise burden on Bir Tawil residents would be less than $37 per year per person. Sudan has many areas of mineral deposits all along their northern border, between Bir Tawil and the Red Sea. This area is part of the Nubian Shield, with a host of significant mineral potential. It is expected that these will be subject to exploration and mining over the next few years by various companies looking to extract gold, silver, nickel, chrome, lead and copper. Having a sizable depot nearby, providing capacity for potable water and power, makes these mining concessions more attractive. In addition, with enough people making Bir Tawil their home, there will be emergency and medical facilities that can help provide support to people in the nearby Red Sea state. How likely is it that a foreign group like ours would be able to lease and operate such a project in a country like Sudan? Well, if you asked that question 10 years ago, the answer would be very different. But there's been significant changes to the government and business environment since then, and with the lifting of US sanctions, foreign investment opportunities are more prevalent than in the past. In 2018, Turkey leased Suakin Island on the coast of Sudan for 99 years under a lease that grants it sovereignty similar to that which the UK had over Hong Kong in the past century. Now, we're not looking to lease anything on that basis, only as a commercial venture, but it does go to show the changes in the political landscape in Sudan in recent years. It's one of the reasons that our new nation project has viability, when it would likely not have if it had been tried even just 5 or 10 years ago. But what do you think? Have we missed some glaring problem? Leave your comments and we hope to be able to address them in future videos. Cheers guys.